Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee. I am Ryan Pulowski, and I am honored to serve as your worship associate this morning. We welcome people of all genders, sexualities, ages, races, ethnicities, histories, and bodies. We welcome your mind, your heart, and your spirit. We welcome all you are carrying with you today and all your heart longs to set down. We welcome all the people watching online as we live stream this service. Hello, online folks. We especially welcome guests joining us today. If you are a visiting guest, we invite you to fill out a welcome card located in the pew rack in front of you and drop it in the offering plates that will come around later in the service. Please join us for social hour after the service, directly across the hall in the Lean House Common Room. Some accessibility notes: you can find hearing assist devices and large print hymnals and orders of service at the back of the sanctuary, as well as worship activity bags for children and those young at heart. There is a fragrance-free section in the front right pews, and if you're watching online, you can enable closed captioning on the device you are viewing on. Now, a few announcements. Find out what's new in religious education and help empower the next generation of UUs at one of the RE volunteer orientations today at 11:30. We review our new RE structure and all of our safety protocols and procedures to ensure that you are fully informed to keep our children both inspired and safe. Snacks will be served, and we will meet in the young room on the lower level. Hope to see you there. Please take note of going public about the Housing Authority in the announcements. If you can, please attend tomorrow night to support tenants who could be facing eviction due to Housing Authority rent mismanagement. Share the Plate Committee is calling for online nominations for nonprofits for their program. And finally, on August 27th, parents who are interested in having their youth enrolled in our 7th to 9th grade OWL class this year need to attend the parent orientation today in the Reeb Room directly after service at 11 a.m. I welcome you into our worship service by inviting you to join me in the unison affirmation of our mission, printed in your order of service. We gather to nurture the spirit, engage the mind, and inspire action. And I am delighted to introduce our pulpit guest this morning, Jeff Percy. Jeff and Geraldine have been members of First Church for over 30 years. After careers as a photojournalist, AODA counselor, and executive director of 2 nonprofit organizations, Jeff blossomed into a documentary photographer. Jeff has worked for the UUA, documenting the aftermath of Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines, the struggle of legal aliens in Texas, and the water crisis in Detroit. He has traveled 4 times to Sierra Leone to help raise money for a small village hospital, and he is a founding member of For Good Photography. Jeff has served as First Church Congregation President for 2 years and volunteered on many committees. This will be his 3rd sermon at First Church. Please join me in welcoming Jeff.
Thank you. Good morning. It's such a welcome thing to be able to come and be offered the pulpit to be able to share with you some words. Our opening words this morning are a poem by Amanda J. Bradley from her book of poetry, Queen Kong. The poem is Independence. Hobbled by bags crammed with food as she exits the market, the elderly lady takes halting, deliberate steps that favor her right leg. Her green coat is cashmere from a bygone era, not tattered but outdated, the kind of Salvation Army find my students would cherish. almost as much as this woman once did at Sears Roebuck. She is wearing hose and big black shoes, and her fingers are knotted by arthritis. I want to help her with her load, but I catch her eye. She reads what I'm thinking in my face. She shakes her head in a quick, fierce, silent no. She pleads with her eyes, "Let me have this." Please rise as you are able and sing with us the opening hymn, "Guide My Feet." After the first verse, the children will be excused to the religious education classes. I invite you now to prepare yourself for meditation. Get comfortable in your seat. I suggest your feet on the floor. Feel your body's structure in relation to the earth and the sky. Breathe mindfully. Close your eyes or fix your gaze in the middle distance. Relax. Be with me now. Our words of meditation this morning are from Thich Nhat Hanh. They first appeared written on a wall of a retreat center in Upper New York State. His calligraphy of this meditation has been reproduced many times. Many of the men in the meditation group that I attend have it framed. It is only 3 words. I have taken the liberty to repeat it several times because I have a short attention span. From Thich Nhat Hanh. This is it. This is it. This is it. This is it. This is it.
Swiping left and right on Tinder, I was looking for someone to get a drink with, maybe a couple drinks, but hardly looking for anything serious. At 24, I wasn't looking for Mr. Right. Mr. Right for this year would do just fine. In true Tinder fashion, I got a couple matches, got a bunch of anxiety about if I should message them back, and then didn't. And after the new year in 2019, on January 4th, 2019 to be exact, I started chatting with this cute guy who was about the same age as me, was interested in the legal profession, and seemed like a generally fun guy. After a few days of chatting, we decided to meet up for drinks at a bar a couple blocks away from my then apartment in River West. We met at Art Bar. I walked those couple blocks with all of the usual Tinder first date jitters. Would he like me in person? Would I like him in person? Will he actually look like the pictures on his profile? What if it's really awkward? Do I have to block him afterwards? I walked in and found the guy tucked into the corner of Art Bar at a table for two and sat down. The night went exactly as you'd hope. I did like him in person, and he appeared to like me in person too. He looked like his pictures, so no need to block. Conversation and connection flowed so easily between the two of us. After about an hour or so, I decided it was probably time to wrap up the night. So I decided him how he was planning on getting home. I don't know, I'll probably call an Uber. My roommate dropped me off, he replied. Oh, I live just a couple blocks away. We can walk to my car and then I can give you a ride since you live just across the river, I said, hoping he'd say yes so we could extend the date just a little bit longer. Oh, that would be great, he said, and we proceeded to walk the few blocks in the frigid January air. We chatted the whole way to the car and the whole way up to his apartment on the Upper East Side, and as I pulled up in front of his house, yet again, the awkward first date jitters set in. What do? Should I say, I had a good night, and send the let's get together again later text at a different time? Or should I say, let's get together now? Oh, and the kiss. Should I go in? Should I ask? My internal dialogue cut short by, I had a great night. Can I kiss you? Yes, I said. We gave the first kiss peck, and off he danced down the sidewalk to his apartment. And I mean literally danced. That went well. We'll see how this goes, I thought to myself as I drove down Locust Street to get home. Fast forward to June 16th, 2023. That first date guy and I are on our 1 millionth date together, standing in line for the London Eye. I yet again have the jitters. I really hate heights. It's a fear from childhood that I have not been able to get over or conquer. But that isn't quite why I'm nervous. The engagement ring sitting in my pocket is a much more nerve-wracking than the world's tallest cantilevered object. Is he going to say yes? Should I do it in the pod where it can't be caught on camera? Or should I take it in front of the green screen photo op right before you get into the pod so I can catch it on camera? Again, my internal thoughts are interrupted, this time by, next in line, please step up. Well, here goes nothing. I quickly adjust my hair, take the ring out of my pocket, and drop to one knee, and wait for him to say yes. And then I realize I haven't actually asked him to marry me yet. And finally say, Austin, will you marry me? He's the live stream guy, just so you all know.
crumbles to the ground when we refuse to see. Dust in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind. Don't hang on. Nothing lasts forever but the earth and sky. It slips away. All your money won't another minute by. Dust in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind. Dust in the wind. Everything is dust in the wind. Everything is dust in the wind.
I'm dying. That's the bad news. The worst news is so are you. We are all dying. We are talking about the abstract notion that after birth we begin an adventurous, inexorable march to an inevitable and common end. The great mystery, of course, is that we never know when that end will occur. As a result, we never know when we have done something for the last time, or as I have titled this talk, we never know when we have had a last dance. In our life, there are many last dances. Last dances are sometimes a matter of choice, but often through age, circumstance, and health, a last dance is forced upon us. The origin of that phrase, for me, came in a very concrete manner. I was Wisconsin's representative to an organization of state leaders in the preparation of alcohol and drug abuse counselors. The United States Navy was hosting the organization at the Naval Training Center in San Diego. The meetings took place at the Admiral Kidd Officers Club. On a break, I stepped out onto a large balcony overlooking an outdoor dance floor. My colleague from Oklahoma, Lydia Norrie, joined me. She asked for my thoughts. I mused that I can only imagine the number of couples who danced on the floor below us during World War II, not knowing that when their husband shipped out, it might be their last dance. Lydia was crying quietly, and she said, "His name was Billy. He was the love of my life." Ralph Gibson, a great thinker about life and art and one of our finest fine art photographers, posits in his book, Self-Exposure, that life is made up of a very select, small number of decisions. In his 90 years of life, he identifies 7 decisions. These are seminal, life-changing decisions. For the purpose of my talk, they are each last dance decisions. There are many things that I will never do again, like jump out of an airplane or run a marathon. These are final, but not life-altering. For me, last dance decisions are when we commit ourselves, intellect, body, and if you choose soul, to a change of direction. Life changes, often radically, with each last dance. There are also always unintended consequences to a last dance. I will describe the 5 last dances of my life to this point and invite you to reflect on those of yours. My first last dance happened when I was 20 years old. I made the decision to relinquish my 4-year ROTC scholarship while at Ripon College. This was the ultimate separation from my father, a lieutenant colonel in the Army. To accomplish this, I claimed conscientious objector in the military, a nearly impossible feat. It also meant that I would need to pay for my last 2 years at Ripon on my own. While I continued to have a loving relationship with my dad, he actually admired my stance. It also meant that I would never again have any form of financial support from him. Entering my senior year, I had cobbled together a series of loans and professor assistantship and a job as a bartender and a bouncer in a stripper bar, but was short the money to finish the last semester of my senior year. I went to Dad and asked if he could help. It is illustrative that this conversation took place as he was driving out to a car dealership to pick up his new Thunderbird. He said, "No, you made a decision that has consequences, and this is one of them. You figure it out." And I did. My decision also set my life course of active support of liberal causes. My second last dance came about when I was 31. After a decade of using alcohol and drugs, I was beat. I knew that my options were suicide or a life without chemicals. With the help of countless good people, last month I celebrated 42 years of sobriety. Thank you. That decision in 1981 changed my life forever. To date, it was my last dance with what had been my best friend and my worst enemy. It also meant a change of careers, the end of a marriage, and the abandonment of every social contact that I had. My next last dance was very similar to Ryan's worship associate story. It was 1986 when I married Jerry. During the early years of my sobriety and an intense therapeutic year of alcohol drug abuse counselor training, I had addressed significant issues of my relationships with women that had become twisted and warped by my addictions. I said marriage vows that I meant from the bottom of my heart and committed to the love of my life. She has also been instrumental in the next 2 last dance decisions. I made the decision to go to graduate school when I was in my 40s. That decision was heavily motivated by Jerry. As I contemplated it, I received advice from many quarters. Many said that I would never earn a return on the investment at my advanced age of 41. I said to Jerry, "I'll be nearly 45 years old when I get my master's degree." She countered with, "Well, if you're lucky, you'll be 45 either way. You can either be watching sports on TV or picking up a degree." That decision opened up an expansion of my career possibilities and increased my income that could never have been projected. It put me in a position for a career that included international travel and the opportunity to make a difference in patient safety. My fourth last dance was also instigated by Jerry. I was 5 years into my new career when she literally pushed me up against the wall and began rhythmically hitting my chest with her fist. "You have got to get a hobby." "You are so effing boring. All you talk about is that job." I had been the chief photographer of a daily newspaper when I was much younger. but had not taken a photograph in over 30 years. As a newspaper photojournalist, you are in and out of people's lives, often on the worst day of their lives. I'd always admired the work of photojournalists like Father Don Dahl, who engaged in long-term photojournalism projects. That decision to pick up a little hobby has resulted in a career that has taken me around the world, photographing situations of people who are marginalized by circumstance. It has included four shows in our gallery here at First Church. My most recent last dance was forced on me. In a dispute with my organization, they were wanting me to assist in developing projects that I felt were unethical and possibly illegal. But I worked for them. They paid out my contract. My formal work for pay life and that dance were ended. Jerry and I sat down and made a decision that we would try to find ways to give back with our rich blessings. I was able to do this through my photography, and she through volunteer work, often in healthcare. We had arrived at that point in our mid-60s when the societal supports expected us to die. In 1935, when Social Security was adopted, life expectancy for white men was 61 and white women 65. The current life expectancy for white men hovers at 76.4. It is projected that by the year 2060, it'll be 83.9 for white men and 87.3 for white women. Think about that for a minute. Statistically, we live more than 15 years longer than the support system was designed to address. We were expected to be born, be educated, be productive, retire, and die by our mid-60s when the old age support system kicks in. What do we do with us old people? And when does someone qualify as old? Unfortunately, there is a tendency to marginalize the elderly. When I retired, a good friend said, "It is easy once you get used to being unimportant." Others have talked about becoming invisible. We live in a society that worships youth and fears old age. There's a growth industry providing preventive Botox injections to 17-year-olds when they discover their first wrinkle. It makes me just shudder. Another industry has arisen in the last 20 years to provide elder housing for elder care. Assisted living facilities for the elderly saw a 35% increase from 2013 to 2020. For many families, this is the preferred solution to caring for elderly parents. In most cases, it keeps people clean and safe. And with varying levels of assistance provided, it liberates residents to enjoy their lives more fully. In his book, Being Mortal, Atul Gawande describes the tension between families' need to assure the safety of the older relative and that person's drive to remain autonomous and independent. We even call those people craving autonomy over safety feisty. Maybe some of you are feisty. In preparation for this sermon, I had the opportunity to read several books on successful aging. It'll surprise no one that there are several common themes that emerge. A good summary is provided by George Vaillant in his book, Aging Well, Surprising Guideposts to a Happier Life. None of these will be surprising. In one form or another, they're repurposed by many authors. Good people who happen to us at any age create an enjoyable old age. Forgiving old relationships makes us happy. A good marriage at age 50 predicted positive aging at 80, but low cholesterol levels at 50 did not. Alcohol abuse damages relationships. Learning to play in retirement is more important than retirement income. Younger friends make retirement joyful. It is all right to be ill as long as you don't feel sick. There you have it in 7 nutshells. I got to this point and thought I was pretty well done with this sermon, but then a good friend, David, suggested that I look at a recent work by Dr. Becca Levy a professor of epidemiology and a professor of psychology, both at Yale University. Her book, Breaking the Age Code, is a transformative look at our participation in the aging process. Levy quotes psychiatrist Robert Butler in defining ageism as a process of systematic stereotyping or discrimination against people because they are old. There are two components to ageism: negative age stereotypes that lead to discrimination and allow the younger generation to see old people as different from themselves. Thus, they subtly cease to identify with their elders as human beings. A recent World Health Organization report concludes that people don't recognize the existence of institutional ageism because the rules, norms, and practices of the institution are long-standing, have been ritualized, and seem normal. Our First Church community makes a concerted effort to provide necessary supports for its members as they age. We are integrated into decision-making and social supports. We are looked to for our wisdom. It is our responsibility to take advantage of what is available. And perhaps as a faith community, we could do even more. I suspect in this room, there are people who are not very different from me. I'm a white, cisgendered, financially stable old man. My incredible privilege insulates me from many of the harms of societal discrimination based on age. Every discriminatory practice of ageism is exacerbated by the intersection of race, gender, identity, and income disparity. Levy posits that ageism exists on a governmental, societal, and individual level. It will be left to a younger generation to fight the long-term fight of ageism in government and society. That fight will need to be carried on well past my generation. But Levy has also done significant research on the impact of language and attitudes on aging. Her research supports a finding that there is a causal relationship between our personal awareness of and participation in ageist actions and the exacerbation of our personal aging and wellness. We create a self-fulfilling prophecy. Since reading her book, I was gobsmacked by my own ageist self-talk and humor. Old fool, senior moment, brain fart were a part of my language. I became increasingly aware of this language among my contemporaries. What if Levy is right and these attitudes create a downward spiral of acting older, thinking older, being older? Levy provides a three-step method to bolster positive age beliefs: awareness, blame, and challenge. Awareness. Awareness of images, beliefs, and role models of aging. These includes our personal beliefs and the role models presented on TV, movies, and social media. Blame. Who is to blame for the continuation of these myths? Who profits? Would the language we use about age be sexist if it was about a woman? Racist if it was about a minority group? Challenge. Challenge through politics, social groups, and relationships. Challenge by also confronting myths about aging. Levy lists 14 false stereotypes and the facts that challenge and debunk their veracity. Among them, we are technologically challenged. We don't have sex. We are bad drivers. We don't contribute to society. We are fragile. All are false. And she provides the information to counter them. You only need to look to the people of this congregation to see immense contributions to our church and our community. None of this wisdom matters if I don't take action. Gosh, this sounds like it might be another one of those last dance turning points. It is. Here's what I'll do. I will push back and take action against ageism. As I'm aware, I will no longer use language that demeans my age. I will love my wife. I will increase my involvement in this and other communities. I will foster my relationships with my peers. I will be there for anyone wanting to get or remain sober. I will treat those younger than me that are a part of my life as if they are essential to my well-being. If you are a younger person hearing this and you are part of my life, I treasure you. I will create art. Karsh, the famous portrait photographer, said that he loves to shoot people who have lived long enough to get the face they deserve. I want that too. If you're over the age of 40 and would like a formal portrait taken, please contact me. I'll shoot it. I will work to structure my life to make these things achievable. Wow, my sixth last dance. May we all never fall into a rut of feeling trapped by circumstance, but remain open to responding to the pulse of life, each day being a dance. It may be a continuing dance, or we may decide it is a last dance, and we will change our lives again and again until we have a glorious last dance. May it be so. Mitakie Yoasin, all my relations.
Every week, we have an opportunity to practice our values through sharing our resources. Our pledges are at the core of our spiritual practice of generosity. In addition, the church shares half of all non-pledged cash in our offering plate with the community organization, practicing our value of interdependence. Today, we shared the plate with the Wisconsin Unitarian Universalist State Action Network, or WUSON. WUSON brings together the collective energy and power of Wisconsin UU congregations and fellowships to build a statewide advocacy network. In partnership with many allies, we uphold the worth and dignity of every person while acting to further justice, equity, and compassion. May the practice of giving bring us joy. The offering will now be gratefully received.
Our closing words this morning are a poem by Dale Skaggs. And as another little announcement, there's a new show hanging in the gallery of photographs by Dale Skaggs, almost like a poem. Let me start again. Best if used by. Don't keep your joys in a cupboard next to the jar labeled Wild Abandon, and certainly not tucked into your copy of How to Make a Bucket List. Also avoid hiding joy in your dreams journal or in boxes opened only for special occasions like holidays, and not on a shelf in the closet where Grandpa hid his candy jar. Always remember that joy's best used by date could be sooner than you know. So keep your joys close by in your purse or your backpack, in a jacket pocket, or slip them inside your shirt, warm against your skin. And perhaps best, just let them speak. Sing them to yourself and to the world. Then hold their sweetness on your tongue till they melt into you and can never be lost. Please join us in singing We Laugh, We Cry, hymn 354.